The part where you have to break down the smart kids, or not, well, it's not smart, but the kids who get it. And welcome back to the Angry Teacher channel. I'm Richard Williams, the Angry Teacher. If it's your first time here, thanks for chilling out with us today. Hey, go ahead and kind of become familiar with the different playlists, because I'm sure one of them will speak to you, and then you'll become more familiar with what's going on in this crazy website and be a part of the community, be a part of the family. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for the next Angry Teacher dope video that's gonna come out, and it's gonna hit you right here, right? Those of you who've been here before, thanks for coming by. You know I love you. I thank you for the words of encouragement. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the interaction. Without you, there'd be no me. Let's get into the video. You just have a plan, right? So they always have a unit plan, something that you can tell from beginning to finish that there was some orchestration here and there was some organization of the content. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how to create one. And let's get into it. Number one, you've got to know what standards you want to teach. So we have to break down the standards. With that said, isolate the standards that you want to attack with this unit. If you want to talk about polynomials, if you want to talk about the different chemicals that make up starches. Is that a thing? I don't know. If you want to do themes, if you want to do main idea, whatever it is that you want to, standard you want to teach, you want kids to learn for that period of time, then you isolate it. So you can know that while you're working, you know that this is what we're targeting, this is what we're paying attention to. Now we may cover certain others or several others, but for the most part, this is the one we're targeting right now. Number two, determine what works you want to work with. So if you are talking about the theme of homelessness, find works that pertain to that. Find pieces, poetry, short stories, a novel that kind of pertains to that, articles. You get them all together in one area for you to start planning. And then you kind of find, remember in the first one when we talked about isolating that standard, find the standards in that those particular pieces, so that when the students ask questions, you'll be able to target that and tell them, hey, that's what, remember, this is what we're doing, this is where it is. That's what we need to do, this is where it is. If you're doing another subject, for example, your math classes, and you're targeting, your standard was polynomials, you know, how to recognize them or whatever. I'm not familiar with, you know, the math standards, but at that point you can have, you know, all the questions you want to ask, all the support that you want to lend to it. You're basically just getting all your supplemental, all your resources together. Number three, determine your summative assessments. At the end of all of this, at the end of the unit, what do you want the kids to learn? How do you want them to show this? Whether it be a presentation, whether it be a project, whether it be an essay, will it be a number of, will it be just a regular objective multiple choice exam? Or will it be 4 questions and, you know, or an interview? Or will it be something that, whatever the format is, it needs to be something that has spanned the unit, so they know that, wait a minute, I've learned something. Now I know this particular topic. Now I know the theme of homelessness. Now I know how to approach literary devices through this theme. Number 4, strategies. Find the activities, the scaffolding, all this stuff. Now this is the part that, you know, it takes a little bit longer, because this is the part where you have to break down the smart kids, or not, well, it's not smart, but the kids who get it all the after the first lesson, and the ones who didn't. So you have to figure out, how am I going to reach both in the same period, in the same class? This is what you do. These are the strategies, Chris strategies. Which one am I going to use? Which one makes sense here? Okay, if I'm reading this short story, I'm using this strategy. When we move on to the poem, even though it's the same standard and the same unit, I'm going to use a different strategy. So these are things that you have to think about. How do I remediate? How do I move that kid who's always finished before everybody else? What can I give them to move forward to the next level? This is probably the most time consuming of planning the unit because it has you thinking beyond the scope of the content, and you have to think about the kids in front of you and the what ifs something comes up. You know, what if they don't get it in this unit? Do I have to extend it? Do I have to reteach it? What if most of my kids are in the lower level, but there's just one kid or two kids who are, at the regular pace or ahead of everybody else? What do I do? So these are things you have to consider and think about which tools are better for my unit. And lastly, break down the time allotment. How much time does this unit need? I've had some of my coworkers who have killed a unit. You've taught, I believe they got it, but you're still teaching it. At some point, let it go. At some point, you need to move on. Yes, you've allotted in your head, you wanted to give them a month to grasp how the body functions. Why are you going into 2 months? If they get it, they get it. And sometimes because it lends itself to an easier transition to the next grading period or whatever it is in your mind, but you've exhausted the idea. So now the kids are just going through the motions. They're bored with the topic because you've taken too long to teach it, or because you think they didn't get it, so you keep going over because you maybe didn't have a summative, or you didn't have moments where you check in. You kind of see where they are, assess them, either verbally, written, however. Just make sure that you're spot checking to see if they've been getting it, because you don't want to keep wasting your time or wasting theirs, because you're going to lose them. They're going to start getting bored. They're going to start retaliating, either emotionally or, outright in front of you. But with that said, know how much time you need. Some units are just a week. Some units could be a month. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. It just depends on what it is. If you have a unit on, like I mentioned earlier, homelessness, and you can only find like 2 pieces, and then they'll get the point, or like, for example, like my AP Lang class, some units do not need to be extremely long. I just need them to understand what's going on, how to identify it. When we did satire, it doesn't need to take 4 months for satire. Especially with my kids, they kind of tend to get it. They already have the idea of what's going on. They just needed a little bit of a push in the right direction to kind of identify what's satiric in the different pieces. So I give them about 2 or 3 pieces. We looked at some cartoons, we looked at some graphics, and you got it. There's no need for that to be 2 months. So with that said, know how much time you need, know who you're working with, and then fashion your unit based on that. That's all the time I have for you today, guys. I need you to go out there and be great. Hey, let's just go out there and teach.